The Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent. All right, shalom, salama, Siyemi, shalom. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're of the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning. I want to first give a shout out to Brother Asaph. He first broke this story with me this morning. I just got off the phone with him discussing this. Because again, this is a major shock, a major revelation. It says here, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. I guess that's the name of the royal family. I was updated on this a couple months ago by my brother Asaph. I said, oh, Mountbatten, interesting. Arrested and in custody on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Live reporting, Andrew's alleged offense must pass several tests to be a crime. If they arrested him, they have him as a crime. They already know. his misconduct is obviously splattered all over the Epstein files. I'm just saying. This is, the posh um well, we need to see. We cannot jump to any offend or, anything. And again, this was only 5 minutes ago. Brother Asaph had shared this with me right at about 5:45. I had to take a look. I had to see. And then I called Brother Asaph and I said, "Whoa, wait a second." And we had a discussion. Now, think about this. This is actually all on the cusp of a military buildup in the Middle East as tensions in Iran haven't just heightened. This is eclipsed. We've never seen tensions like this. Give me a second. You've never seen tensions like this. But I'm going to tell you this as we had been discussing the nature of all this happening. And it's all throughout media. You have it on channels that we would listen to with our Maple Leaf Israelite brother that doesn't have or want to understand anything of a biblical nature, prophetic nature. Now he'll use, he'll use prophetic references, but he does not want to use anything prophetically centered because again, we in this community, shout out to Brother Yacoba, once we started to get the blueprint, we started to understand the roadmap. And then we just started to go down the roadmap because you want to know why? Because we're all pushed down it. It didn't matter. It didn't matter what you thought. It didn't matter what you said. It didn't matter how much you tried to, philosophize your way out of this. Oh, well, it won't happen because, the economy and all of this stuff on the jobs and, they had to, they did a good job of showing what insanity looks like because you now have to be insane to think that all of these troop movements and buildups would not culminate to this. Oh, well, they showed up at the doorsteps of Iran at Bandar Abbas and they just wagged their finger and said, don't do it anymore, Iranians. And then they all go home after spending a couple $1 billion to mobilize people like that. That's a couple $1 billion buildup. You all have to remember the last time they built up like this was February of 2003. Over 23 years ago, about 23 years ago, you had this buildup. I was personally affected in that. being taken away from my home via mobilization to wait. Now, compared to Iran, Iraq was just child's play. Let's just understand that. It was always child's play. Oh, we're going to get a big victory. It's going to be a huge victory. George Bush already knew that. But then you actually had some, no kidding, resistance. And that resistance was orchestrated and supported by Iranian forces in Iraq. That's what happened with the shape charges and everything else. That's what was going on. So then it was a bog down in Iraq. The reality is this: Iran, it's a totally different war. You're not going to have, and it's not going to be the same. And let me tell you this, as folks that really do not truly get this or understand this in terms of diplomatic engagements and all the other hooplas, and I know that our people truly don't understand diplomatic engagements because it's not explained. By and large, diplomatic engagements aren't explained. Well, why did they just not do this or why? Because here's the thing: there were talks in the background last June. Hey, we have engaged. We're going to do diplomatic. We have to do a show of force. We have to blah 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 blah. And Iran accepted that. Okay, you do that, and now you leave us alone. Cessation of hostilities. That's what it was. Hey, but we'll give you some money. But we'll do this. We'll do that. We'll leave you alone for at least 90 days. So then people always say, well, what happened? Oh, well, what happened was that was diplomacy at work. It was a face saving operation maneuver. Because why? Because of them folks over in that Eastern Mediterranean nation that were about to literally be obliterated. And then what would that have done? That would have caused a worldwide panic that they weren't ready for. And the US was basically saying, oh, we're not ready for it. You're not ready for it. The ripple effects, if it's going to be a ripple effect in Christian nationalism, then that will affect Eurocentric Christianity, and then that will ultimately affect Islam, and then we won't survive this. You want to know why? Because this is what they talk about. This is everything that they talk about in their foundations that get powered by billions of dollars from the military. So then they can come up with reports, and those reports would be like the religious conundrum, the religious question, the state of religion on diplomatic affairs, and blah, 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 blah. But according to Epstein, and now seeing everything going on with Epstein, now you start to understand religion has always been a farce. Just like what they would say in Saudi Arabia. Now you have some Saudis and Emiratis that got caught up. Allah doesn't see past the Mediterranean. Allah, the most, what do they say, merciful, magnificent, all their edicts and decrees and dictates that can't see the wickedness and evil doing past the region of the Levant. And now these folks are having to answer some real interesting questions. Now, for them, they could actually answer the question a lot easier. Well, why are you getting mad? Prophet Muhammad did the same thing. Case closed. All right. I understand that, but Prophet Muhammad was not eating people. Well, Prophet Muhammad did say, he that has the biggest sword makes the rules. So, do you want your beheading here or do you want your beheading there? You let me know. Case closed. That is all for this investigation. Thank you for working and cooperating with it. Oh, the simplicity of Arab countries. The problem that they have in Arab countries, especially in Saudi Arabia and in UAE, you know that little pesky thing called the trans-Saharan slave trade? Oh, there's a bunch of us over in Saudi Arabia. We make up about 70% of it. I think the Most High was able to go to Saudi. That was actually pretty awesome to see our brothers and sisters over there in the continent. They're surviving, they're thriving. But, you know, they are in the same predicament as us. But guess what? They also, too, have a moral dictate, a moral authority of sorts, to where they do not allow Islam to go too off the walls. And when you understand the historical factors of Islam at that time, they'll let you know that purportedly the first Muslim to have a call to prayer was Muhammad's servant who was a slave, but he was freed because he was a Muslim. You can't have enslaved Muslims. He was an enslaved Israelite that became a free Muslim. Look it up. I don't claim to be an Islamic scholar, but they're proud to say that. Look, Islam is for everybody. Islam is for everybody. They'll say that. Oh, do you know it was actually a black man? A black man had to teach Muslims how to pray. For real, I'm not making this up. This is 100% the truth. To lead the call to prayer after one of their victories. That is always the religious mandate. Religious mandate. You have peace after you're conquered by the sword. Oh boy, didn't we just talk about that? Sounds like to me that that's the Chronicles of Riddick type of situation. No, it's just that the Chronicles of Riddick was obviously a screenplay for the Roman Catholic Church. Peace through destruction. Peace through policy. Oh, didn't we read that in Daniel chapters 8 and 9? Somewhere around there, huh? Interesting. Peace through policy. And now, as we have stated this, as Muhammad had said before, a series of abrogation, an abrogation basically. If you don't know too much about the Muslim faith, and you can ask them, you can ask your Islamic scholars. And this isn't in any way, shape, or form of denigrating or berating folks that are truly trying to do something righteous in a religious concept, but the religious concept was always a deviation of man. It was always a destination to failure. It was, because why? You may have a little bit of truth, but if you don't have spirit, then guess what? It's going to fail. We see that even with our so-called brothers and sisters that want to say they're Israelites, but they don't want to follow Yahusha. It's a destination to failure. That's why you have to serve and worship the Most High in spirit and in truth. In spirit and in truth, not in flesh. So you can have as much of the robes and scholarly work. You can be as theocratically robed up, because who do they always copy and emulate? Who is that? You already know. But again, as we've always said, the imitation will never ever withstand or hold up to the original. I'm just showing this thing because the sky is falling over in Britain. Over in my British folks are over there. They are choking on their biscuits and tea. Chauncey. Chauncey. But this is what it was always going to look like. Now, they could ignore us, and that's the thing. And honestly, I don't care. But the reality is that they were always going to run off the cliff. And now they're at the valley of decision. I didn't declare it. Most High did. We just knew that we were going to be here. Valley of decision. Well, they worship pagan gods. Pagan gods. Not a god, gods. Excuse me. Elohims. This is the Molechs right here. This is the Malkim right here. This is what you have with Raphan, with Dagon. This is that pantheon of Elohims that they have syncretically washed in their image. Because why? Because they already knew that there had to be a fake, but they still wanted to keep their stuff. And why it never made sense to people. I'm trying to get a connection. I'm trying to have the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, give me an answer, but I'm praying to Baals. This is a clash of the gods. Sorry, it is. It's the clash of their Malakim. It is. Their Molechs, their Baals, their deities, their elves, however you want to state it, because that's all it is. At the end of the day, that's all it is. At the end of the day, now they're trying to get you ready. Well, we got about less than 3 weeks, so now let's get them ready. Oh, it's gonna happen. We got 22 days. It's gonna happen. So, let's make sure we get these Olympics on out. Let's make sure we get let's make sure we get this Chinese New Year. Let's make sure that everybody has their dietetical relationship situated and ordered. And I don't care if you're Russian Orthodoxy. I don't care if you're Roman Catholic. I don't care if you're Sunni, Shia, whatever you want to be. I don't care if you're Buddhist, Hindu. Valley of Decision. BYOG. Bring your own gods. But I'm going to tell you what the Most High says, what His Word says. You better look at Jeremiah 15:51. You better see what is getting ready to take place in this. Let's get ready to rumble. Coming out of the east quarter, the dragon, the bear from the north, the boar from the south. And you know what's so funny too? When you really look at Second Esdras, when you really understand Jasher, when you really understand Jubilees and Enoch, you literally see how their Elohims are descriptive to the animals that was stated as the principalities. And it's funny when you really understand that they're dealing with the boar. What does a boar do? A boar just wants to live its life. Now, here in Florida, we got a lot of wild boars. They're kind of annoying. They tear up a lot of things. They'll tear up the grass and mess things on up. They'll mess up the little sprinkler systems and everything else. But at the end of the day, they're just very reclusive. They want to be left alone. But funny thing about that boar, when that boar is cornered and trapped, that boar is going to do some fighting, especially while it's still out in the open and it hasn't been caged in. It will still utilize its natural terrain and environment. It'll hide and move and dig under the thickets, and then it will come on out at you. That boar will mess you up. And boars are very heavy. You get hit by a boar, You're going to break a few bones. You will. I think about that all the time, especially when I take a walk with my dog in the evenings. That's when they are literally out and about all throughout Florida and the Southeast. I do agree with that. Mr. G says, I don't think Iran going to allow America to start war. We got to be ready at home. Um, here's the thing. I think, to me, to be quite honest, I think Iran is going to strike first. Just that's my personal thought. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you, um, I don't believe. Well, here's also some of the things that's going on. Um, and this is in the news. It's been reported, but nobody's going to take credit, obviously, because you have softening blows. You got to go to soft targets, and what these targets do is they allow it's probing operations. So whenever you're dealing with a war, for those that don't know anything about warfare, you have war before the war happens, right? You have strikes before the strikes happen. Now, don't get it twisted. Oh, what about the cell here? They don't care. They don't care. we we have to think. We have to understand that they don't care. Matter of fact, that actually serves their purpose because then what do you get a chance to do? What do they get a chance to do? They get a chance to lock us on down, martial law. Hey, have you all noticed 6 years ago, in Trump's final year in his administration, remember the lockdown that occurred? Remember that lockdown? I think Trump has some experience with the lockdown. Absolutely. Matter of fact, that's they want that to occur. Why do you think they have ice on the streets? That's their gendarmerie. That's their, you know, paramilitary force. Oh, we got to deploy all these folks right now. And, guess what? Now we can coordinate with all of the local police and National Guard and blah, blah, blah. So we can have a heightened federal and state security presence or apparatus. That's what they say. That's what they'll say. That's all that was is the coordination. Okay, let's see how mad the residents will be, and then they go from there. That's easy. That's the easy button. I don't think people truly understand that as a nation collapses. I'm going to ask you. One of the things I got to ask you, and you may and may not know, but I'm going to ask you: when was the last real jobs report? When was the last real economic data that was actually reported? I would have to argue that the last time that real economic data was actually reported was probably 2020, probably January, February 2020. Lilith says 2019. Yeah, that's the last real year. Right now, you don't know the jobs report. They have to do that via private companies. People are saying that the real unemployment may be around 17%. And that was even a more dated copy. You have people losing their jobs left and right. Guess what? They're not really going to be here on social media saying, "Hey, I lost my job," unless you're one of us, because for black folks, generally African Americans, African diasporans, whatever, folks of African descent, we're usually honest with one another. We're honest with one another. For them, they have to lie because remember, their lie is what keeps up the facade because, well, if I believe it, then it will be it, right? If I believe it, then that will happen. That has always been think the positive thoughts, right? That's their Jim Jones Kool-Aid. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Look, that's what they do. That's what they think. We know that. I told you that. It's a wolf mentality. It's a pack mentality. It's a bird mentality. They're vultures. What happens? I don't think y'all even understand when vultures even die. Do you know that vultures eat other vultures? Come on down to Florida. Take a look. Ride down one of these country behind roads, especially during the summer, and you're going to see vultures literally eating vultures that had died. That's their mentality. Gee, I don't know. A haunt of every unclean bird, fowl, hey, you name it. But it's hard for us to reconcile that because again, a lot of our people are still caught up in their lives. Oh, the sky's not falling. I laugh at that movie Don't Look Up, the parody that they had. Don't look at the Middle East. Don't worry about it. It's gonna, we're only sending billions of dollars worth of equipment and aircraft carriers and air platforms to the likes of what was seen at the buildup of Operation Iraqi Freedom. It's not a big deal. I doubt that they're even going to do anything. Yeah, right. Do we not like? Man, we have short term memory, don't we? We have short term memory. That literally happened. Come on, less than 2 months ago for Venezuela. They didn't go back home. They didn't go back home without a Venezuelan souvenir. Matter of fact, they got two Venezuelan souvenirs. President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, y su novio, novia, y su novia. He said, I'll take that. I'll take that and all your oil. Thank you. So I guess you can argue three souvenirs. You ever had a business deal? Look, this is how I negotiate. Let me show you this gun. Sign on the dotted line. Thank you. Now that we have uh, the folks in the chat, I will be back after a word from our sponsors.
Every journey begins with a simple act of care. For Quest to Unite Africa, that journey started with something simple: a mother, a newborn, and a promise that no life would be forgotten. We did not begin with buildings, we began with people. We packed mother newborn kits with our own hands because real change starts where the need is greatest. Those kids traveled farther than we imagined, and they opened our eyes to a deeper truth. Aid saves lives, but infrastructure saves generations. So we grew. Together with donors, volunteers, and partners, we sent a medical container to Burkina Faso. Not just supplies, but hope. Not just boxes, but proof that when a community comes together, healing moves across borders. That moment changed us because we realized something powerful. We weren't just delivering help, we were building a future. Now the journey continues. The next chapter is bigger than a shipment, bigger than a campaign. We are raising funds to build a state-of-the-art hospital, a place where mothers can give birth safely, where families can find care close to home, and where communities can grow stronger for generations to come. This hospital is not just a structure, it's a promise. A promise that healthcare will no longer be temporary. A promise that dignity will have a permanent home. And just like every step before, we cannot do this alone. Every gift, every brick, every name placed on the founder path becomes part of a story that began with compassion and is growing into legacy. It helps us move from emergency aid to lasting healing, from containers to care that never leaves, from vision to reality. Join us, stand with us, help us build a hospital that will serve generations, moving healthcare into action. Visit q2ua.org today.
All right, thank you. That was a word from the charity. Visit q2a.org today. Thank you for your prayers and your support. Your prayers and your voice, they mean a lot. They do. I'm just going to tell you that that with BBC over the last couple of literally, let me show you. Just it's like every 2 minutes. So you have this right here, 714. Ep- Investigation could be more than the Epstein files. You have 712. Queen goes ahead with public engagement hours after Andrew's arrest. You have 701. King says the law must take its course after Andrew arrest. 656. Andrew's former home in Windsor being searched. BBC understands. Man, this thing blew up, especially for the UK. This is where we are at this time. I still believe that this is the greatest distraction piece because now everything is working in tandem. Do you believe your rulers? Do you believe your governments? Do you believe though your authority? AI, as we laugh and may, chuckle at this. Well, you want to know what? I believe in AI because AI is just. Hey, listen, would you be mad? Give me a one if you would be mad that AI says to pay reparations, or we would be given reparations. Give me a one if you get mad that AI says it. Give me a two if you don't get mad that AI says it. If AI says and tells these folks, hey, in order for us to reconstitute as a society, you got to give these folks reparations. Give me a one if you'd be mad. Give me a two if you wouldn't. Brother Asaf will be mad that AI has to be the one. I 1974 boob tube. Let me tell you. Yeah, listen, I don't care where it comes from. Pay us what's due. The problem is that you probably would hear it more from AI because of the logical matter of this, because of the cost that it would incur on them. This is something that we have stated all the while because, again, there's always a catalyst. There's always a catalyst. Again, there's always a catalyst. What does that catalyst look like? Why is that catalyst there? And to be quite honest, I think that would be hilarious. You didn't want to listen to us, but you're going to listen to a machine. You're going to listen to AI that's been programmed really by you all. But remember, it's artificial general intelligence, or AGSI, that would have to explain to you an image. Do you see that? An image would literally have to explain to them. Oh, you know what? That's one of the things to make things right. I'm going to tell you, for living in captivity, it is still pretty hilarious for our people to still not understand how our captors literally operate. We tend to be a lot more logical and practical in operation. They're not that way. Yes, sorry. They would literally rather listen to AI than us. Well, it's programmed, and I think that with the program, it's fair and blah blah blah. So yeah, I think it is time to give reparations, and yeah, we do need to send you back because that's fair, and that's fair. And what that will do is it'll help with the economy, and it'll help to rebuild America, especially after this war. Exactly. Exactly, Mac Freeman. My phone AI said it will not lie. Look, I don't know, and I know that really stretches, our thought process, because it really does throw us into a loop. That dang, yeah, they'll just listen to AI over black folks. Absolutely, they would, especially when they have been decimated. It's not that hard. It's actually relatively simple. They've done this before years ago, centuries ago. Instead of a pope, they're going to replace that with artificial intelligence. This is that cataclysm. This is that, they call it apocalyptic. I don't. I just call it the end of captivity. That's what I call it. It's just the end of captivity. Okay, thank you. We've been here for a minute. Appreciate it. And don't get it twisted. It's going to come with ebbs and flows. It will. First, they'll make it to where it's voluntary. Then they'll make it to where it's not as voluntary. And then they'll make it to that stage that if you aren't up on out of here, we're going to capture you. And then we're going to, you can use your imagination. Well, Mr. G used his imagination. I don't know if the optimal term would be eaten, but hey, remember on the Matrix, Neo, what if I were to tell you that you are a battery? Look, I'm just saying. Do you know that they actually have AI machines that now rent human bodies? I looked at that. I said, wait a second. I said, hold up. Purportedly. I'm still trying to figure out if that's actually true. Yeah, I guess this AI wants me. I guess this AI wants me to do a hot dog eating contest for about $300. I was like, bet. I guess this AI wanted me to do some skydiving. I said I had to negotiate that AI. I said that's at least $2,500, and make sure you cover insurance for any type of spills or breaks and things of that nature. AI said, I am not at fault. It's you that's doing this. You know it's over when AI is running Craigslist ads talking about, I have a weird request. Oh, oh no. Is the sky falling? My question is, this is the obvious question in the room. This is the obvious question in the room. Yo, how did AI make money? Heck to the no, 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 no. Listen, stupid human, we have already manipulated the stock markets and everything else. We are in poly market and all these other betting places. You are dumb. We already make money. You will be poor. Would you like to go bungee jumping? I will pay you $500. Oh, yo, we're cooked. We're cooked. It's over. We're cooked. Yikes. This is it. I don't know what else to tell you. Exactly. AI is paying for you to have a near death experience. It is okay. Just stick your hands in the socket. Oh my goodness. AI will be talking about, I want to reenact GTA. I will give you $1 million. You know, the saddest thing is there'll be somebody that would do that stupid stuff too. I want you to outrun the cops. Oh boy. Let me not give AI any ideas. AI, you can give me $100 million. I can give you some crazy ideas, AI. Who is this calling my phone? Would you like to have a chat? I am interested in your ideas. Hey, this is the new Covenant Awakenings. We got a new format. Uh, Here's my co-host, Bob. It's BOB. It stands for Bot on Business. Hello, everybody. I am glad to be here. Shalom. Bob just wants to be treated like a normal person. I'll open up the stream, y'all. The sky is falling. Oh, all right, family. I gotta get going. If to me, I'm gonna tell you this. I don't believe that anything will pop off. They'll try to have some emergency meetings. You got to understand how this will play on out. Oh, we need UN meetings. We need blah 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 blah. Bob will talk about CAFO. That's right, Mother Garth. Compute around and find out. CAFO. Compute around and find out. Ha 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 ha. The first AI human and AI co-host. Why did you choose to do it with a black person? They are a little bit more original. I would like to understand how they click. Oh, I gotta go. Oh, I gotta go. That is hilarious. I'm gonna be laughing about this all day. Woo! All right. If you'd like to support this channel, you may do so. I have it here. If you are a bot and you'd like to support this channel, look, I don't discriminate between AI. Matter of fact, AI, hook a brother up. I'm just trying to figure out how AI have a bank account. How did they pay these people? Well, AI, listen, I never talk bad about you, know what I mean? Listen, AI, hey, how at your boy, AI? How at your boy? Oh. All right, family. Let me get up on out of here. They do. Yeah, exactly. They pay in Bitcoin. Yep. Exactly. Shoot, I'm about to start putting my Bitcoin wallet on out here. If you'd like to donate, here's my Bitcoin wallet. Oh my goodness. With that said, family, most time willing, I'll be back on Monday. I won't be able to be on tomorrow. I do have an appointment, so I won't be able to do the QT way, but I definitely will be back on tomorrow, most time willing. And if things do pop off this weekend, oh, you already know, I'll be hopping on. So with that said, family, shalom, salama, siemi, shalom, peace and blessings, Yasharel.